Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Monday Motivational Podcast with none other than the big man, the big shoots himself, Mr. Karl Bryan. How you doing?
Let's go. I'm doing good, buddy. What's happening, my man? Monday morning, dude. You ready to rock and roll?
Well, you know, I was out for a burn on your Sea-Doo, and I understand that there's probably a direct correlation of a lack of haircuts to the amount of wind flowing through your locks as you're going across the lake there. I have a feeling that's probably what happened. I'm sure if I asked Tammy, she could probably verify that story. Would that be pretty accurate?
That is true, buddy. Man, I'll tell you, it's like a motorbike, man. My hair flowing in the wind. There's no chance as long as I've got that Sea-Doo. I might never cut my hair again, Road Dog. What do you think?
Did you have a motorbike growing up, dude, or were you not a motorbike kind of a guy?
I had a trike, a three-wheeler, which, oh my gosh, I can tell you some funny stories about wiping out on that bad boy and my buddy wiping out. But anyways, so I had a trike, and then actually so when I was 18, might have been 19, I think I was 18, I bought a street bike. And I got to tell you, it nearly never ended very well. I remember some pretty interesting moments where I was, cruising along at the highway at 100 trying to take these turns, man. And it was a bit sketchy. But then to get this, because, it's amazing that I didn't grow up to be a mechanic. And then I forgot that a motorbike needs something called oil. So I drove to Red Deer, where I went to college. So I drove to Red Deer to see some buds. And so I forgot about the oil. I ran it out of oil. And when I look back now, I truly believe that was God, or, if you believe the universe, God, a higher power looking down on me saying, you should not be riding a motorbike, young man. And that was the end of it. That was it. I sold it for beer and game over, man. So I seized the engine.
Yeah, Karl the mechanic doesn't quite have the same ring to it when I see him put together a bed.
You've seen me in action. Don't pretend like I'm not magic, man. You saw me building that bed that one time. That was amazing.
Anyway, on that note, folks, while you're listening and wondering who are these two clowns, we are in fact here to not just educate you, but to entertain you as well. So please keep that in mind if you're new to the LPW community. Karl and I are good buddies, and we occasionally have a cocktail or two together. And we wanted to obviously educate and provide a ton of extra value, but just know that if you're looking for polished tuxedo-style podcasts, I'm sure they're out there. This is not it.
No. You don't think so? You're in a tuxedo, Road Dog. Don't lie to us. It's a Monday morning, man. First thing you do, wake up, put on your tux, shoot into the office.
If anything, we'd be like stepbrothers when they're doing that job interview. That's us,
buddy. Stepbrothers. That we could pass for that, Chase. We could pass for that. Okay, cool. So look, and by the way, and Road Dog, as you know, but I'll let the guys know. So I'm away. I went fishing, and some success and lots of unsuccess. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, so guys, I got some spotty. I'm not able to open up the lines and whatnot. So this week, Road Dog, I hope it's okay with you, buddy. But rather than open up some lines, we are going to get straight into the content, man. So I presume you got some questions waiting for me.
I sure do. Just hold on, everybody, as we cue this up for, of course, the podcast. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. It's your boy Road Dog here with the man, the myth, the fishing legend himself, Mr. Karl Bryan. How are you, Shoots?
Yo. Good, Road Dog. How's it going, man? You are correct. I am fishing prowess, and no doubt I'm fishing with my best friend and his older brother, who are more like brothers to me. And they call me, no joke. We all have our own fishing names, and my name is Many Fish because it's not that I'm good at fishing, but there's a bit of luck ways about it because there is absolutely no skill, but I do manage to pull up a ridiculous amount of fish. So there you go. So Many Fish to you, Road Dog. Many Fish to you going forward, bud. That's my name.
Well, I'm going to jump right into the first question because it does speak to talent. And so, you're talented fishing. This is just a natural sort of a segue. So the first question is, I'm talented at goal setting, and that's my coaching niche. Is it niche or niche? Anyways, do you think that it's scalable? That's a great question. What do you think?
Right. Is goal setting scalable? Look, I don't know. I don't know. Let me. I get the power of goal setting. I understand where you'd go there. Realistically, I think you'd tell me this: how many other folks are out there scaling goal setting coaching companies? They're going to tell you you'd be hard to find one. Maybe a better question is, well, the next question would be why. But when thinking about scaling, in fact, forget scaling. Let's just think about building a six-figure, multiple six-figure, and then walking your way towards seven figures with your coaching company. There's three steps. I refer to them as baskets. 3 steps, 3 baskets. You've got lead generation, you've got conversion, and then you've got fulfillment, right? So think lead generation and conversion. That takes talent. Okay, you got to be good at running Facebook ads. That takes talent. Conversion most definitely takes talent. You got to be able to take somebody, convince them to hand over their credit card and commit to $2,000 a month. But then fulfillment takes all the time, and folks forget about the fulfillment. By the way, they always think lead and conversion and forget about the fulfillment. Fulfillment it's what's going to get in the way of scaling. So that being said, really I think what makes more sense, we're talking goal setting. Is it marketable, right? And then people buy what they want. They don't buy what they need. Okay. So if you're going to market something, what do you got to market? You've got to be able to, you've got to market to what they want. And I don't know, you tell me, do business owners wake up in the morning and say, geez, I really need someone to help me set proper goals? Right? As I say that, I don't mean to laugh like in a facetious way, but I laugh like I just don't see that happening. Right. So then what do they wake up and say? They wake up and say to themselves, how do I make this bloody phone ring? How do I make my website work and drive traffic? How do I generate leads off my site so that when I wake up in the morning, I've got a series of leads waiting for me? Or how do I create a sales team so that I don't need to be the sales guy, the builder and the fulfillment and the guy who picks up the wood and pays the invoices, organizes the taxes, etc. So I guess it's a bit of a, I often talk about people go to ideas. Carl, is this a good idea? Idea this, idea that. That's a horrific way. I don't know if it's horrific, but that's just not the way you go about building a business. What you want to be doing is you want to think about problems. You got to change your spidey senses and drill towards problems, right? And so, goal setting, that's definitely a problem and one that needs to be solved. But quite frankly, in my world, if I were to coach you within week 1, we'd do goal setting, we'd nail it. We would, create a really, I would create a framework on how to set goals, and then we would set the goals and we make sure they were in line with your values and that sort of thing. And then it's like, well, week 1's done. Now what? Right? So scaling. So the fulfillment side of it, what are you actually fulfilling on? And as if you're going to be able to keep clients for, long periods of time, like months and months and, years and years, which is what you ultimately want. So you don't have to always generate leads, right? Hopefully that just makes sense. Remember, repeat business equals profit, right? So if you're just, teaching somebody something that you can solve in a short period of time, you're going to battle, goal setting. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's like Lance Armstrong going, I'm really good at riding a tricycle, right? Like goal setting. So goal setting is the basic. It's like time management. So yes, it's absolutely what they need, but it's not what they want. So therefore it's not marketable and you're going to battle. Or like the way Dan Kennedy would explain this, that you have to unplug what you do with what people will pay to see you do. So what does that mean? What you market and what you fulfill on are fundamentally two different things. And I hope I've explained that, where you wanted, I'm going to help you become significantly more profitable. I'm going to help you build a new business, a better business. I'm going to help you really crush it with your, crush your goals and make millions of dollars. That's what they'll pay you to do. And then what you actually do is you do goal setting and time management. But that's once they started paying you, that's when you fulfill on that. Or like language, like if you give me a room of 100 people and I say, what's the language of business? 80 hands, if not 95, will go up for marketing. Well, then ask me, Karl, what is the language of business? The language of business with 100% certainty is accounting, right? That's, by the way, don't think you're listening to me here. That's what Warren Buffett says, right? So I think we should all probably, hail to the king. So really, what am I getting at? Most people, they don't really know what it is that they need, right? So again, wants and needs are two totally different things. So they need goals, but they're not waking up thinking I need to be able to do that. So, Road Dog, I think I might be answering this a little bit differently, but bottom line, and actually, here's another point actually that I just kind of come to me here, like that goal setting is improvements. Like, and I drive traffic. I've driven lots of traffic over the last couple of decades. I've been, driving traffic, drive a mad amount of it. Well, the worst performing offer is improvement, right? Without doubt, right? So Road Dog, you've got, your business doing X, and I'm going to help you do X times 1.3, like a 30% improvement. Like that's 100% the worst performing ads. So then what are the best performing ads? It's always new. So again, maybe like your spidey senses, taking them away from ideas, and going to, problems. It's the same with, I want you to get your marketing spidey senses away from improvement and how you're going to elevate people and improve processes. And I want you to put them to new. So what does the business owner want? They want a new website. They want a new sales process. They want to build a new list. They want a new funnel. They want a new product, a new offer, a new service. So that's kind of what you want to be going to these guys. So when I'm, if I'm sitting with a business owner and I'm trying to close them at, $1, $2, $3, $4,000 a month coaching, 12, 24, 36, or $48,000 a year of coaching, I'm not sitting down with them and talking about improvements. A lot of my language is around the new stuff that they're going to end up with. Like one of the things when you work with us, we have turnkey marketing systems, right? So like, imagine you were about to work with a cosmetic surgeon, you were about to work with a roofer, you were about to work with a dentist or a chiropractor, and you had a $50,000 turnkey marketing system ready to go, right? Well, when you put that in front of them and they're looking at it, and by the way, our coaches can literally show them like, oh, wow, well, if you wanted a $50,000 marketing system, well, let me show you an example of one for this specific niche. Again, daycare, cosmetic surgeon, roofer. Well, they have a $50,000 marketing system. Well, do you think business owners want a $50,000 marketing system that they don't currently have? That would be new, and that's an example of something they definitely want. And as they say, pictures are worth 1,000 words, so our coaches are able to put these turnkeys in front of them and say, well, this is what your marketing is going to end up looking like at the end of 12 months, right? So that's a way that you go about getting a $24,000, $36,000 coaching client commitment. So there you go, Road Dog. I think they're going to battle mightily to be able to scale goal setting coaching. I just outlined it for the last little bit there. They're going to battle with that one, bud. So that's my answer. So I think they should be going into something that want versus need. Make sense?
What about this? What about this? Would you think it's scalable to have a learn to ride a bicycle business by a guy that lost a BMX race to a guy with one?
Yes, I did lose a BMX race to a guy with one leg, but Road Dog, you're supposed to forget that one, man. That one.
But I'm just wondering, that seems totally scalable to me. Like, learn from not the best, but a guy that lost to a guy with one leg.
I wish that wasn't true. My dad, oh my God, did he poke fun at me over that one?
As he should. That's a good parent right there. There you go, folks. You got parenthood. We do it all here on Business Secrets. We're beyond business. All right. Is this a time to be exiting business coaching or starting? Ooh, what do you think of that one, bud?
Yeah.
Like, starting or exiting? This is a fantastic question.
Is this a time to be starting or look? Okay, the answer is there's never been a better time to be starting business coaching. The end. Here's the thing. Okay, the person who asked this question, you got to get into like their psychology, right? Should I, you know what I mean? Like this is somebody thinking about, is this a good idea? Is this what I should be doing? And the answer, what you've really got to do is you've got to stop the mental gymnastics. You have to help your clients stop the mental gymnastics of, should I stay or should I go? Is this the right business or should I do another one? The number of people that I see, like, I follow them on Facebook and like, they're a business coach one week and then they're a life coach the next week. And then they're helping people with their relationships the following week, right? It's just like, and that being said, as long as you understand the process, right? That what you're doing, you haven't found your niche and then you need to find it. But what you need to do is just need to bloody well find it. And you need to buy into it at 100%. You got to commit to like 10 years. You got to commit. It's like somebody will do if we have a program, Live Event Mastery, and then like I filled over 400 local live events. Our coaches use this program, falling off a log. And I know there's a pandemic and all that stuff. Like that's all going away. The magic of the program is you're not trying to put 100 people in a room. In fact, that works against the program. That's not the goal. You want to have less people and excellent follow-up, not more people and poor follow-up. But basically what they do is they do one event and then they want to report back to whether or not it worked, right? Give me a break. Like you need to do 10 events and then report to me, right? But again, people do an event and they do the mental gymnastics of whether or not this is the right, niche or the right process for them, et cetera. Just crazy. So I just want to make sure that we're just locking in with what is the game plan. And the game plan is to, become a business coach and then blow up all other boats. And this is what you're going to be doing, moving forward. That is what you really should be doing. But that being said, couldn't be a better time. Look, maybe even like house flippers come to mind, right? Like they always get caught. Yes, they make a few bucks and they make money and they talk about it and they buy the BMW and everything else. But they end up getting crushed, right? Like why? Because they're always undercapitalized and then they're never ready, for that one kaboom, right? And by the way, am I right? Okay, well, you tell me, you go to the people that that have invested in real estate and you tell me how many have been successful over the long haul. I'm not talking about the guy who flipped the house last month and put 30 grand in his bank account, right? It's not the guy I'm describing. If he keeps doing it, they almost always end up with their pants down, right? And so why am I saying that? That's an example of a business where you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out, right? And I don't know, even like a metaphor of a surfer, right? I'm talking about things that I'm bad at. A one-legged surfer would probably kick my, but I have done some surfing in my day. I lived in Australia for a decade and a half. Absolutely loved it. And it's like the best surfer or the worst surfer in the world, what you need is a wave, right? If you've got no wave, you're not going anywhere. But here's the magic. Is if you get a good wave, you get a bad surfer like me and I can look like I know what I'm doing. And then you could take a bad wave and take Kelly Slater, whoever the world champion is, put him on a bad wave and he looks pretty average pretty quick, right? So the metaphor of the surfer is in order to catch that wave, guess where you need to be? You got to be in the water, right? So business coaches right now, I know that they're, some are scrambling and, struggling and, should I, shouldn't I, and should I be here and should I exit, et cetera. The magic, like, there are going to be more businesses started over the next 3 years than ever before, right? Like ever before, the end. So you got to be in the water in order to be able to capitalize, right? So not only is this a good time to, not forget exiting, but entering, you've just got to make sure you that you're in the water and you're catching the waves. And like I said, there's more businesses going to be started for the next period of time than ever before. Like another one, so with our business coaches, one of the things that we create for them is a membership site, right? We've got a 52-week curriculum. It's absolutely lights out. And I just tell them, like, no matter who you speak to over the next period of time, I want you to ask them. And I'm talking about the waiter. I'm talking about the cab driver. My wife always says that she feels sorry for the person that sits beside me on an airplane because he always gets off wanting to start a company, right? So like, it's the cab driver, it's whoever, your friend. I just want you to ask them this question. Have you ever thought about starting a business? Okay. And the guy who's thinking about starting a business, if they do go and start a business, what do? They go to take business administration in school, commit to 2 years, 4 years, and getting a diploma or getting, a certificate or getting a degree, and spend tens of thousands of dollars and literally forget months, but literally years training themselves. And quite frankly, if you go to school and you learn how to build a business from a guy in school, normally the guy in the school with like about 98.5% predictability is a guy who's never built a business, right? That's the guy that I don't want to learn business from. So basically you ask them, have you ever thought about starting a business, and what do you do? What's the solution? Well, the 52-week curriculum that we provided for them is literally step by step. You'll never get these aren't my words, right? Road Dog, the system. All of our clients have seen it. We got some of the top coaches in the world that are our clients and use, the tools that we've created and the membership site that we provide them. And it's like the best 52-week curriculum on the planet. Like I've got literally go to my website, you'll see a testimonial where somebody worked for Tony Robbins for 10 years. The name slips my mind right now, but he's like, this is, what you guys have put together is better than anything that Tony Robbins has ever put together for business owners. And by the way, I'm not necessarily saying I agree with that or I don't agree with that. Look, go have a look at the 52-week curriculum and you decide for yourself. But I can tell you that the number of times I have heard that would blow your mind. What am I getting at? The guy that wants to start the business, instead of going to buy a franchise for 50 or 100 grand or committing literally years and tens of thousands of dollars for school, instead, basically, buy the membership site that some of our coaches sell for as little as $100 a month, $1,000 for 12 months. Some charge significantly more, like $5,000 for the 12 months. But the bottom line is that the 52-week curriculum is there, step by step. And then who do you sell it to? Well, that guy. So that's what I'd, is this a good time to be starting? Like I just think, rather than thinking about that, think of all the fun and creative niches that are out there right now. Like things like smart pants and things like smart clothing, things like, a smart, like just think smart briefcase, smart boats. Like if you sold a car nowadays, it wasn't a smart car, right? When you're competing up against Tesla, like just give me a break, right? Like I've got a 7-year-old daughter and she talks to she talks to the remote control like it's a walkie-talkie. Like she doesn't press the buttons. She just talks to the thing, right? Well, think about where voice is going to go and then how some of your clients could be using that to their advantage, or like some of the virtual options that are available now, like, businesses going online and businesses able to take, their learnings and whatnot. People, trying to manage virtual teams. Like I sent out an email not long ago, like the craze now is that we're never going back to the way we were, right? Like nobody's ever going to go back into an office. Everything's going to be virtual. Well, let me tell you this. Okay. Just don't listen to what I say. Just study the last 250 years of human beings. And you're going to see we're ridiculously, resistant to change, let's say, right? Well, I guarantee, and not to mention, look, for the most part, business is going to go back to as per normal. A lot of these leases were for 5 years. A lot of projects that would normally take an hour are now taking a day. Like there's some serious cracks forming in the old virtual landscape. And then why? Because people, managing a virtual team is totally different than managing, a team of people in an office, right? The end, like it's just 100% different. So that being said, most of business is going to go back to normal. And like I said, don't listen to what I'm saying. Just look at, the last 100 years of psychology and the way these types of trends have gone. People are going to go back, but the ones who are really going to win are the ones that are going to build like a hybrid, right? Because when you have the ability to have virtual staff, imagine how much that opens you up to be able to hire people in other cities and other countries, less expensive wages, better at things. Like there's just, different countries that are better at different things. Like we're sitting here, if you go to your Facebook page, you're going to see a bunch of people talking about flat earth, and they're going to be talking about whether Trump should or should not be the president, all this kind of stuff. Well, in Asia, they're working on artificial intelligence at a ridiculous level, right? Well, they're going to kick, artificial intelligence. This is frankly worrisome for me, maybe a conversation for another day, but like, the real winners are the ones that are going to go build a hybrid and learn how to use virtual to manage in with their company. Well, in order to do so, they're going to need some guidance. They're going to need a little bit of help. Well, that sounds a lot like a business coach to me, right? So there's all kinds of, trends and whatnot. And yeah, that's what I'd be thinking about versus, should I exit? Should I leave? It's like, home services growing like absolute crazy. Like, I've said this many a times, but if you don't like gardening, don't do gardening. Like, hire somebody to do your gardening and then use that time to go and educate yourself, right? If you don't like cleaning toilets, and I'd be amazed if you do, you should not be doing it. You need to hire somebody to come into your house, clean your house once a week, but use that time. Like, it's 1 hour. Be disciplined, which very few people are, but be disciplined. I want you to study taxes. Study use that time to go through your credit card statements, go through your, the expenses within your home and where all the money's going, and find ways to reduce it. And I guarantee that the time educating yourself will be 1,000,000 times more valuable than you scrubbing your toilets, which you absolutely hate. And by the way, some people like cleaning their house, and some people like doing the gardening, and some people, like cleaning and like cooking. That's fantastic. And if you like that stuff, then do it by all means. Again, like, if you don't like driving, like, you should, in this day and age, there's no need for the most part for you to be driving. You could literally hire an Uber to get everywhere. You sit in the back with your laptop, with your phone, and instead of driving for an hour and getting annoyed by the car accident and the dickhead, basically you won't even notice because you're just in the back of the car, working, right? Like, you should totally be doing that. So, Road Dog, just encapsulate all that. Never a better time to get into coaching, but think of my surfing metaphor. In order to catch the wave, you've got to be in the water, right? There is going to, like, business. I mean, you just read up on this. There's lots of articles that I've seen over the last few months, but business coaching is having a huge win. It's going to have a huge win, but you've got to be in the water, and then you got to be committed, right? When the wave comes, you got to be ready to stand up on your board and frankly be willing to take a little bit of a tumble and get some water in your mouth. But that's what I say to business coaches. Like, commit, like I said, when you do an event, commit to 10. When you commit to a career, commit for 10 years. Warren Buffett always says, like, he won't buy a stock that he doesn't want to own for 10 years, right? Very powerful. So there you go, Road Dog. That's my answer, man. But never a better time to be cranking as a business coach. There is no doubt.
Speaking of Warren Buffett, I don't know. Listen, you mentioned about accounting earlier, and there's a question here, and it's, how do big companies doing billions manage to pay $0 in tax? So you've obviously spent some time, like a lot of time lately, studying accounting for whatever. Some people like cleaning toilets, some people like studying accounting. So there you go.
Very similar, by the way. Very similar.
Can you unpack that a little bit for us? How it's even possible for some of these huge organizations to be paying $0 in tax?
Yeah. First of all, high five for the question. This is the kind of stuff that I'd be, thinking about on behalf of yourself, on behalf of your clients, etc. But look, first of all, you got to understand that tax is your number one expense. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it here. You've got to understand that. But if you give me a room of 100 people and I say, what's the number one expense? 80 hands go up for mortgages and housing, right? Big, totally wrong, and a bit of a mistake. So it's the number one expense. So I think, again, I just talked about it a little bit a second ago, but spend some time to educate yourself in the area. But how do they do it? Look, there's multiple ways. In fact, over the last couple weeks, Road Dog, you and I have talked about a feedback loop. So a feedback loop is absolutely relevant. Like, before I hone into how they do it, I think you got to understand a feedback loop. So if you didn't hear it, I'm going to give it to you again. And it is one of those things that I want to really encourage you to digest what I'm about to talk about, because you talk about secret sauces and magic pills and whatnot. Like, this is one of them, right? Like, so a feedback loop is, okay, so you run an ad, Road Dog, right? And you're going to drive traffic for X, chiropractor, dentist, butcher, baker, candlestick maker. You spend 500 and you're good at running ads and whatnot, so you're going to get a 10x return. So let's say that you take 500 and turn it into 5,000, right? Well, what you've got to do, so you take the $5,000 and you got to feed it back into the system, right? You got to spend, instead of spending 500 on ads, now you've got $5,000 to, buy ads. You think you're going to get a little bit better at it. But what do most people do? they take the 5K and they go buy themselves a motorbike, right? And it's like, no, or like even, and just think about it just holistically from your coaching business. Again, a feedback loop. Most people make $100,000 and spend $100,000 and wonder why they got no money at the end of the year. You make $100,000, live on 60 and take 40 and feed it back in. You earn 200, live on 80, which is plenty for the average family and a guy who's growing a business or a gal who's growing a business. You're making, 200, live on 80 and take 120 and feed it back in. Right. And I just dare say what I just described. That's what I would describe as a feedback loop. I really want you to, take that to heart. And I would say that just so few businesses do that, just blow you away. But the real question is, okay, so how does Amazon pay zero tax? So it's pretty complex. I'm going to basically drum it down into a few key points, which is how they do it. But you got to understand that there's some complexities here, right? But research and development, I don't know what it is, but again, they do billions of dollars of trade, and they've taken I don't know what it is, but call it $20 billion in the last year and spent it on R&D. Okay, well, when they do that, it's a feedback loop. They're not pulling the money out of the business, so therefore they're not paying any tax. And then you've got property, plant, and equipment, right? PPE on a balance sheet. So simply put, I don't know what exactly the numbers are, but they've tens and tens, over $50 billion they have invested in property, plant, and equipment over the last few years. And then here's an X factor. They do stock-based compensation. So instead of giving bonuses in cash, what they do is they give stocks and stock options, right? So therefore, what happens is they're able to write off the shares as a business expense. And then the double magic comes that the higher the stock price goes, the more they can write off, right? And then have a look at, Amazon stock price over the last number of years. And has it gone up? And the answer is yes. Well, as it's gone up, this is, rather than what most businesses, as they make more, become worth more, they're paying more tax. Well, Amazon have the exact opposite scenario because of the way they do it. There's another one, transfer pricing. I could riff on this, but just for the intro, I don't know that everybody listening is going to understand this at a super high level. So if you guys, I would encourage you to research, and this is the kind of thing that I'd be learning about while somebody was cleaning my toilets, or I was sitting in the back of an Uber or a cab, or somebody was doing my gardening when I don't like doing gardening, right? But wifey wants it done, so it's got to get done. Happy wife, happy life, right? Road Dog, that one. But so look, transfer pricing. Basically, what you've got is companies have got heavyweight companies, let's go Amazon, Uber, Apple, etc. They've got multiple divisions under one umbrella. It's under their control, but they've got multiple divisions. And then what happens is basically individual divisions are buying from one another, right? So just imagine the expenses are all cobbled in underneath that one umbrella. So the answer, number, I think I just gave 4. What was it? R&D, stock, property, plant, and equipment was number 2. And then I said, how do I word that? Stock-based compensation, right? So again, they're giving out stock options instead of cash bonuses and whatnot. And then transfer pricing. So transfer pricing is, again, a little bit of a rabbit hole we won't go down today, but, pretty powerful concept when you understand it. And, look, realistically, for those listening, you're going to pay zero tax. And the answer is no. But that being said, Warren Buffett says that he wants to know where he's going to die so that he never goes there, right? I can't begin to tell you how intelligent that is. But so if tax is your number one expense, just know when you're on your way there so that you're not going to stop it from happening, but educating yourself at the highest level will allow you, to not totally get punched in the mouth. Let's put it that way. So that's what I would say. But is somebody going to pay zero tax? And the answer is, not likely. But when a business owner buys, so a business owner goes and they spend $100,000 on a car, right? Or a boat is what I wrote out in, a series of emails recently. It's not $100,000. As soon as you pull that $100,000 out of your business, so it's no longer in the feedback loop, you pull it out. Well, let's say you're paying roughly $50,000 on tax. So 100 becomes 150, right? And then like you go and buy the $100,000 car that becomes worth 80 immediately as soon as you drive it off the lot, right? And then, by the way, you finance it over 4 years, which means take all those numbers and almost double them. 100,000 is not 100,000 in any way. It's just 100,000 becomes, $200,000. And not a feedback loop. And, you've lost your ability to write all that stuff off. And of course, there are nuances to everything that I'm describing. But I just want you to, again, in Warren Buffett's world, you got to know where you're going to die so you don't go there, so you can kind of avoid all this stuff. But the bottom line is you want to create a feedback loop. And then what do? You got to buy advertising. What are you going to do with that money? Instead of pulling it out and buying a boat, go buy ads. Go hire a staff member. Spend money on R&D. Go develop some products. Go develop some programs. Buy yourself some coaching. Spend some money on mentoring. Remember, a true mentor is somebody who can tell you what not to do. Every dickhead's got a list of things that you can do, like, wants to help make your to-do list longer, when in reality, and very importantly, a mentor, somebody can, tell you, again, where you're going to die, like show you those, bad hills to avoid. So that's what I say. Even like in our own world, like for our coaches, like we've got a program where you can build a team of 10 coaches, right? Very legitimately, those that do. Of course, it's a higher level program. It costs a few extra bucks. But the guys who do it, again, it's without going through it all intricately, but they make $120,000 of legitimate recurring, which quite frankly becomes somewhat passive. I'm always cautious to use that word because, I own some real estate, and, when the toilet goes, somebody's got to show up and the phone rings. So it doesn't feel very passive in that moment. But that being said, it, very legitimately gets there. So like, again, it's $120,000. I get like Paul Inseman's one of my guys. Like when I met him, he had 0 coaches. He just signed back just before we started this call. I think he signed up his 70th coach, right? He's part of my 7-figure club. Think about the magic, like think about the numbers that are happening on a monthly basis. But in order to get there, he had to invest in his own success, invest in his own company instead of whipping the money out and, buying a new Porsche. Basically he's feeding that money back through, right? So, and really what I'm describing, Road Dog, this is more psychology than anything else. Success in anything is 80% psychology, 20% mechanics. You want to be successful in sport, in life, money, business, you name it. It just always comes back to psychology. I love when I get asked to recommend a book, I always recommend Tony Robbins's Money Master the Game, I believe it's called, Money Master the Game. And when you read it, it's a book about money. It's a big book about wealth. But really, when you read it, the book is 80% psychology, right? It's crazy. And then, so you want me to encapsulate, what 80% psychology, Carl? Like, bring me to what that is. Look, start doing a feedback loop and you will be 100%. Instead of, buying new cars and buying new boats and buying a motorbike, and going on vacations, which, by the way, do all that stuff. If that's where you get your joy, I'm not here to, this isn't, all encompassing. But if you don't have a feedback loop and you're buying a motorbike, in my world, you're an idiot, right? Just the motorbike comes second, right? The boat comes, well, probably 10th, by the way. But hopefully you guys are understanding what I mean. So there you go. Feedback loop. Go get a tattoo it on your forearm, tattoo it on your forehead. You got to use it. So there you go, Road Dog. That's what I'd say to that one, brother.
Beauty. Hey, can you close us out with just sort of going, giving our listeners your one thing that they can do from today's podcast?
One thing. For some reason, my mind's going to the guy who beat me in the BMX race.
That's exactly where I was going to. I'm not going to lie. I was definitely going there for sure.
Yeah. So you're going to be a BMX racer. Don't race to do with one leg. It's a setup. Folks. What am I going to say? Look, I think, Road Dog, I talked about it a ton, but feedback loop. It's psychology. Again, take a portion and then take the time. Remember, the language of business is accounting, right? Numbers. And most people, it's not only that they're not good at it, but they're shit scared of it. Understand, don't think of accounting. Just think of it as math. Think about it as just counting your money, right? Addition. Pull out a calculator. And then just take a portion of everything that you're earning and all the successes that you have and feed it back through. So there you go, Road Dog. That's how I'm going to finish this off, guys, or finish everybody off with a feedback loop, man. It's just the power of it's insane.
Beauty. Again, thanks for tuning in to another great episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man on top of the hill, my boy King Karl. And again, if you're interested in getting Karl's daily emails, like if you're not, like seriously, what's wrong with you? But if you want more information on that or how to build your coaching company, visit focused.com and subscribe today. Also, if you enjoyed this podcast, please share with an existing coach or someone that you think would make a great coach. That would be, again, someone that loves Tony Robbins, great salesperson, or just a highly motivated type. And of course, we'd appreciate it if you'd rate this episode, as we know that iTunes and Spotify give an insane amount of weight towards reviews. So please leave us a review if you like what you heard. Well, that's it for another week, folks. Remember, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.